Okay everybody, welcome to our lesson on ordering positive and negative integers, decimals and fractions using these symbols. What I would like to say first before we start is that this lesson is aimed at functional skills level 1, 2 and aimed at GCSE. This skill is transferable across most of all maths, and this is like a foundation for us all to build on to improve all of our math skills. This is going to be something which is crucial to a lot of GCSE questions, functional skills questions, and if you don't have a good understanding of these in the beginning, it will be very difficult to progress. Okay, so can we all get a pen, pencil, ruler and some squared paper? Today we're going to be looking at ordering these decimals, fractions, also throwing a bit of percentages in there as well. It's going to be much easier for us to convert all of these things to the same format. For example, if we're working with decimals, it might be easier for us to convert them all into decimals, and then it's much easier to put them in order. Our first slide is just a quick starter activity. It's just negative and positive numbers. I would just like you to write these numbers down in the order from the smallest to the largest. Pause the video for as much as you need. Try not to take too much time. I do want to make a move on with the lesson, but make sure you give them a check over before we mark them. Here are the answers to the starter activity. Just pause the video now and mark yourself. If you've got something wrong, don't forget to correct it. Make sure you know where you've gone wrong and how you can correct it next time. But we're about to move on, so pause the video if you need to. This is our objective for the day. We're going to start the lesson by converting between fractions, decimals and percentages. I've replaced integers for percentages just because we should know by now that 1 is 100% and 2 is 200%. If you didn't, then please let me know. I can upload a video before this to ensure that you know how to convert between integers and percentages also. So let's start off by the methods of converting between fraction, decimal and percentages. The easiest one, in my opinion, is from decimal to percent. We have to multiply it by 100, or to go in reverse, you divide it by 100. Now, on the left hand side, it's from fraction to decimal. This is sometimes quite tricky as there can be recurring decimals, but once you get the hang of dividing numerators by denominators and catching on to the tricks when you can see 3, 3, 3 and it recurring, then you will be able to change it into decimal successfully. I think the most common mistake in exams is converting between fraction and percent, because this conversion triangle is a bit undescriptive. It says use equivalent fractions to change denominator to 100 and then read off the numerator. Sometimes this isn't possible to do. Like, for example, 1/8. From changing that into a percentage, 8 doesn't go into 100, so it makes it a bit more difficult. The easiest thing to do would be change it to a decimal and then change it to a fraction, percentage, sorry. So if you don't have a copy of this somewhere, please copy it all down. Make sure it's presentable and put it somewhere that's accessible to you whenever you need to convert between these three. Pause the video now if you need to. We're about to move on. We're going to jump straight in there with a practice question. So we're going to practice from fraction to a decimal. Okay? So numerator divided by denominator. That's what it says in our conversion triangle, and we're going to stick to it. So 1/8 as a decimal means 1 divided by 8. 1 divided by 8 would be written using the bus stop method. So we'll say how many 8s goes in for 1, so we can see that it's 0. Put a decimal point on both sides, put a 0 at the bottom, so we'll carry the 1 over to the 0. How many 8s go into 10? Just 1, with a remainder of 2. Now how many 8s go into 20? Would be 2, remainder 4. And how many 8s go into 40? Would be 5. So 1 divided by 8 would be 0.125. Our next question is converting 7/16 into a decimal. 7/16 means 7 divided by 16. This can be done by 7 divided by 16 would be written like this using the bus stop method. How many 16s go into 7? 0. Decimal points. Carry the 7 over. How many 16s go into 70? That might not be just something that you know, so we can write down here the 16 times table. Right, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, remainder 6. Put 0. How many 16s go into 60? We've only got 3. Remainder 12. How many 16s go into 120? So again, we can keep going down our list. Add 16 would be 112. Add 16 again would be 128. So we can see from my list that the 16s going into 120 would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Remainder 8. Now how many 16s go into 80 to finish us off? Would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 7/16 as a decimal would be 0.4375. So in my opinion, converting from fraction to decimal is a little bit harder than converting from decimal to fraction. So just got a couple practice questions on this, and I'm going to give you one to do all on your own. So from converting from decimal to a fraction, you use the place value in decimal digits. That's what it says on our conversion triangle. So the way to find out the place value of a decimal would be to enter the decimal into our place value chart. So if this is our units column, the 0 would go in there, decimal point would go in the next one, this one would be tenths, and then a hundredth, and then a thousandth, and so on and so on. So we enter 0.12, we look at the last digit and we go up to the top, 0.12, so 12 over 100. So now what we can do is simplify that fraction. So how many 2's go into 12, just so we can half it, would be 6. How many 2's go into 100 would be 50. 12 over 100 is the same as 6 over 50. Again, you can half it again, so half of 6 is 3, half of 50 is 25. So 3 over 25 would be the fraction of 0.12. So our final practice question is another one from decimal to fraction, and now we want you to change 0.897 into a fraction. So to place 0.897 into a fraction form, you'd put it into our table. 0.897. The third one's a 7, up to the top is a thousandth. So the value of 0.897 as a fraction would be 897 over 1000. And then we could simplify that using the lowest or highest common factor. So this final slide is entirely yours. I want you to pause the video. I want you to put these in order from smallest to largest. A little bit of a hint for you would be to change them all into the same format. So change it either into decimal or a fraction. That would be the easiest way forward. Pause the video now because I'm about to display the answers. So here are the answers. I've put them from smallest to largest, and also, if you can see below them, I've chosen to change them all into decimals and order them that way. Thank you for listening to our lesson. I hope you learned something new. Please send me an email if you have any more questions or you would like some additional work on this. Thank you very much.